Hi, good morning. So you survived your midterm and your midterm art gallery reports. That's great. And you've gone through chapter 9, 10, and 11, which is all about photography. I hope you enjoyed that. I know that there was a 100 photos discussion that happened at the end of the week that I failed to mention, but you apparently found it, so that's great. So I haven't graded anything yet, so I'm doing that this morning. So look for your grades later today in those areas that we did last week. A lot more grading to do, so bear with me for last week. So, okay, this week is chapters 12 and 13, which is all about 3D. So let's take a look at that. All right, so chapters 12 and 13, three-dimensional media, objectives and overviews, read about it, types of sculpture and other three-dimensional media, methods, modern variations, craft media, a couple things there, glass, and then there's this 3D outside assignment and your journal prompts. And then again, this is a test your learning section, which is really a practice test with practice answers. So this week's not as intense as last week. I know I always say that every week, but it's true. I swear this week is not as intense as last week was. So, okay, let me just take a look at this and see what we're looking at. I know all these things, but I often forget because we go through them so quickly. Yeah, types of sculpture and other three-dimensional media. So here we get into a little bit of history, starting with the Venus of Willendorf. We used to think that this was the oldest sculpture in terms of something that was man-made and identified a human form. This, the Venus of Willendorf is very small. It basically can fit in the palm of your hand, so it's really very small. Often these things were found in tombs or grave sites, and they're not really sure exactly what her purpose was, but she definitely seems to be a fertility goddess, just based on the fact that she's got voluptuous middle area here, wide hips, large breasts, very much, and then her arms sort of rest above her breasts, and so denoting, you know, through history, the good birthing qualities, right? We move through and talk about base sculpture, different memorials, and then we start talking about methods, carving, and I've given you some videos to look at, casting, which is an additive method, the lost wax process, which if you ever wanted to know how is a bronze sculpture made, this will explain it to you. Modeling, construction, or assemblage. I just recently spent some time out in the desert making assemblage, sculpture made out of trash. It was quite fun. You can do that anywhere, actually. Don't have to go to the desert to do it. And then sound art, and here's a few pieces of sound art that I've included. Variation of three-dimensional media. This is where it gets interesting for me. Light sculptures. This is part of the art of light and space movement. Dan Flavin, making sculptures out of fluorescent lights. Installation art, Alan Capro's Happenings, Yeah, lots to look at. Oh, furniture. Love it. Product design. Okay, moving on. Craft media. What's the distinction between craft and art? You know, sometimes people are offended if you call their art craft, or most craftsmen aren't offended if you refer to their craft as art, but it always works the other way somehow. Anyway, and then this is some political theory about William Morris. William Morris was designer of wallpaper, furniture. He had distinctive ideas about the way we should live and how things should only be in our house that are beautiful and functional. And so I've included a video there. And then craft media. These are things that we basically have in our house often. They have a functionality as well as a beauty to them. And this sort of adds to what William Morris is speaking about. This is Heath Ceramics. They are made here in California, and so I've included a little bit about this is a brand-made TV sort of excerpt about them, and then this is one of the designers that works on new concepts and ideas and designs for the ceramic company. And then here is another piece just about a ceramicist in action, somebody who's doing, who's really an artisan in terms of one-offs. This is a production facility, and so it'll give you a look at that. And then this is a sort of one person working by themselves, making their own art. And then glass. So much glass has been over the years, you know, from stained glass to this blown glass chandelier. And then recently we've had a resurgence in glass blowing and the art of glass. You know, Louis Comfort Tiffany was making stained glass windows and works in glass, but Dale Chihuly, who has really sort of been working up in Washington State for quite a long time, has created large studios and these huge, large, beautiful pieces. If you've been to Las Vegas, into the Bellagio, and you looked inside their hotel ceiling, right in the check-in area, there are these huge glass blown flowers that he's produced. And once you see his work, you'll recognize it other places. Salt Lake City, in the Olympic Pavilion, they have some huge glass pieces as well. Several years ago, he had an exhibition at the SF De Young, and huge exhibition there as well. So anyway, if you go to Washington State, he's got a museum over by the Space Needle. I encourage you to check that out if you're ever there. And so those are some really great videos about him, and then one about the crucible. If glass blowing interests you, you can learn to glass blow here in Oakland and come and take a class. And then this is the 3D assignment. So go outside and find the nearest piece of 3D art. If there's an artist name or a title that is listed or attached to the work, then write it down and describe where it is. Upload your picture, artist name, and the title of work here. Now, this being said, please don't go out in your front yard and take a picture of your garden duck or fountain or something like that. I kind of want you to go a little further than your yard. Okay, so take a walk downtown or in your park nearby or something like that. So even though garden sculpture is garden sculpture, I'm kind of looking for something a little beyond your yard. Okay, all right, so I think that's it except for the journal and journal prompts. Here you go. Form and content. They give you some sculpture. Some of you have, I think, oh no, this is not the same thing. Okay, yeah, I was looking at the artist and thinking, oh, there's the same stuff, but no, it's not. So Picasso's Woman in the Garden, Louise Bourgeois' Cell, Eyes, and Mirrors. And then, so there's 2 prompts, but it looks like you only have to write 1. So again, choose 1, or you can do both if you want, up to you. Explanation of time and space, and then I've given you an installation called Cold Dark Matter by Cornelia Parker to look at. And all right. Okay, so I think that's it for this week. And let's see, the practice test. So try to answer the questions before you go to the answers. It'll give you help for the final. All of these are designed to give you some help for the final. And yeah, I think that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be grading this week and commenting. And again, make sure to check your comments and respond if I'm asking you to respond. And okay, have a great week. All right, bye.